In this video, we will build a simple chat app using Node.js. Before I show you the app, I would like to remind you that this video can be combined with other videos. So if you want to use Node.js with any of these front-end frameworks, check the links in the description of this video. Also, make sure to check our website scalablescripts.com. Now, let's see the app that we will build. So this is the app. I opened two browsers, one in Chrome and one in Safari, so we can send messages to the other browser. So if I send here hi, you can see the message also on Safari as well. And if I write here hello there, you will see the message appear here also. So this is a simple version of the app which will be available on YouTube. If you want, the more advanced version of the app will be available in scalablescripts.com. So this is the advanced version. We can see that we can create a 2 people room and multiple people room. We can send messages, we can send images, and we can also use the pagination here. Also, each user is logged in as well. And we have a search box here where we can filter the rooms. Now let's build this app. So let's start building the app. The first step that we need to do is to download and install Node.js. So to do that, go to nodejs.org and download here the latest version of Node.js. After that, we need an IDE. The most popular one is Visual Studio Code, which I suggest you download and use this. But in my case, I will use PHP Storm because I'm used to using it, and it's also paid software. So I suggest using Visual Studio Code, but except for the appearance, everything else will be the same. So I have here an empty folder, and to create a Node.js app, open the terminal and run npm init. And this will ask us a bunch of questions. I will add here -y, so I will answer yes to all of them. And this will create a package.json file. So we need this package.json file in order to install Node packages. And the first ones that we will install is npm install Express and Course. So Express is a framework that we will use to create APIs, and Course is to resolve an issue with the connection with the front end. So now I'll create a directory, src, and inside I will create a JavaScript file, index.js. So let's create our Express app. So first we have to get Express is equal to require Express. Then Course is equal to require Course. We need to create an app variable here, which is equal to Express as a function. And then we need to allow the JSON usage. So use Express JSON. We will send request via JSON, and we will return the response as JSON. So that is what this does. And we have to use Course. So before I add the origins here, what is Course again? So the long name of Course is cross-origin resource sharing, and basically means that if the front end that will consume our APIs, our Node.js APIs, has a different port than Node.js, it will throw an error. And we simply here, we just allow that front end to communicate with Node.js. So if we are using a React app, HTTP here, localhost, it will have the port 3000. If we are using an Angular app, the port is 4200, and if we are using a Vue.js app, the port is 8080. But I will change it to 5000 because 8080 will be the port of our WebSockets. So this basically means that we allow these front-end apps to consume our APIs. And that's it. It's pretty simple. Now let's create our first API app. This will be a GET request, and the function inside this path will have a request and a response, and we will use the response to send hello message. And this is our first API. Now in order to complete this app, we need to listen to a port. So I will listen to the port 8000. And if that succeeds, I want to display a message. So I will add here console.log listening to port 8000. So this is our first Express app, and in order to run this app, we have to go again to package.json, and we need to add a script here. I will remove this test script because we will not use tests, so the script will be start, and inside I will run node src/index.js, and that's it. With this, if we run npm run start or npm start, we will see listening to port 8000. And now if we go to our browser to localhost port 8000, so our app is running, and now we need to add TypeScript to our project. So we need TypeScript because we will use TypeORM later on, which will help us connect with the database, and also with type hints. So TypeScript helps usually larger teams in order to have type safety. So to do that, we have to, I will stop here the server running, and I will run the command npm install globally TypeScript. So now TypeScript is installed globally, and we can run the command tsc --init, and this will generate a tsconfig file .json. So we need to make some changes here. First will be strict to false. So this is just for fast development, because it will require it everywhere. It will throw a lot of errors. But in big projects, make sure to have this to true. And we also need to uncomment experimental decorators and emit decorators metadata. This will be used for TypeORM later on. And that's it. Now let's go to our index.js, and I will rename this to index.ts now. I'll make it a TypeScript file. And one thing that we need to do now to use it as a TypeScript file is the imports. We have to change it like this: express from express, like this. Same for course, import course from course. You can see that now I'm getting some highlights here, which may mean that we need to install some packages, which is npm install types express. So this will have the necessary TypeScript types for express, which will help us. So if I install that, actually I should have installed it as a dev dependency, but it doesn't matter. Now you can see that I don't have this error, and if I use express like this, you can see that I get a lot of hints for which functions I should use. Compared to course, if I use course, you can see that I don't have that many hints. But if I install again as a dev dependency this time, types course, I did install it. Now if I use course here, you can see that I can call many more functions. It's not that I'm having more functions to call, but they appear in my IntelliSense here, which is really useful during development. And the dev dependencies are outside the dependencies, so I will cut this and add it here as well. It should be also a dev dependency. Now we are not finished yet, because if we run npm start here, it will throw an error because I will need more packages. So I will install as a dev dependency TypeScript, NodeMon, and TS Node. So the one to highlight here is NodeMon, because it will maintain the app running and while we make changes in the app. So I will remove this node here to NodeMon, and this is now index.ts. And if I start the app, so npm start, we can see that we get NodeMon messages here, and we are listening to port 8000. And if I refresh here, everything is the same. If I go to the app and I change the message here, hello world, I save, you can see that the app restarts, and I will see hello world here. So this helps us in the development, and before using just Node didn't help us restart the app. Now it's time to integrate WebSockets. So first of all, what are WebSockets? So in the documentation here is an advanced technology that makes it possible the two-way communication between the browser and the server. So it basically means a chat app or all apps that require real-time responses. Those will use WebSockets. We will create a chat app in this course. That's why we need to integrate WebSockets, and we will use the most popular library, socket.io. So let's get started. Let's go to the server API, and then we will add the client API. So the server API is for the backend, and the first step is the installation. We need to install socket.io here. Let's open the terminal. I will open a new tab, and let's install socket.io. And we installed it. I will create here a new TypeScript file. I will call it socket. And let's import the server. So import server from socket.io. So we need to run the socket server. So this will be a constant. IO is equal to a new server. We need a port for the WebSocket server. I will put 8080. We need also some options. So we need course as well here. For the origin will be star, so it means all. So this is a server, and now let's add some hooks here. So when the socket connects, so we have to add when socket on connect, what will we do? So we have the socket here. Let's console log connected, and this is the socket ID here. So we console log there, and then we will add here socket on disconnect, and let's do the same thing, or let's just console disconnected here with the socket ID. So that's it basically. Now to run this server, we need to go to package.json, and I will add here socket, and this will be nodemon src socket.ts. So on the terminal we can run npm run socket, and we are listening to the WebSocket right now, but we need to connect in order to see these console logs. So I have to create another file here, client. So this file is just temporary because the client will be our front-end app, but let's show just how to connect with the client. So let's run a simple code. Let's go to the client API here, and we need to install another package, which is socket.io client. So not sure where is the installation, so let me open another tab here. So npm install socket.io client. So it is installed. Now let's import io from socket.io client. Now we have to connect with the WebSocket server, and the way we do it is the socket is equal to io, and here we have to put the URL of the WebSocket. So we will not put HTTP here because this is a different protocol. The protocol is a WebSockets protocol, so it starts with WS. So localhost here, and the port that we want to connect is 8080. So that should be it. So the connection to the WebSocket protocol and to the port that we put it here. Now socket on connect here. Let's console log a message here as well. Console log. I'll copy and paste the same message here. Connected to that socket ID, and the socket on disconnect. Disconnected. So we are connecting and disconnecting. Let's also add the command here for that client. So I will add here client, and this is client.ts. And on this new tab, let's run npm run client. So we can see that we are connected, and also the same message to that socket server. So as you can see, this was console logged the moment we connected, and if I disconnect here, we will see also the disconnect console log message. So I'll type Control C, and we can see that this WebSocket was disconnected. So this is how the client and the server communicates real time. So we successfully connected with the WebSockets, but we did it only via the backend app. So let's make it possible to see it real time with the front end as well. First, we have to make some changes to create an endpoint that we need. The first step is not having so many commands. So let's reduce them. And in our index.ts, here I will import socket as well. So this will start the WebSocket server. So our app crashed because I have to stop this server. And let's start it again. And now it's running correctly. So we are listening to port 8000 and also 8080 here because they are running at the same time. So the server is running. We don't need the client. So I will remove this file and I will close these tabs. And in our package.json, I will also remove both of these. So we need to have only start. Now we need another endpoint. So for that, I will create here a file, routes. I will export constant routes here is equal to a function that will have as a parameter a router as a router from Express. I will use this function in our index.ts like this, routes. So we have to import it as well. And I will pass our app here. And that should be it. I will remove this endpoint for hello world. And in our routes function here, let's add the endpoint that we need. So router, this will be a post request to API/message. And we need a function for that. So let's add a new directory here. I'll call it controllers. Let's create message controller. Here, let's just export the function message. This will have a request and a response. And for the response, I will just send success here. Let's use this message function in our routes. So this is the message function here. So we have a endpoint that if we send a post request to this endpoint, we will return at the moment a success message, but we need also to call the WebSocket server as well. So here I will import the IO here. So let's export this constant. Let's import it here. Import IO from the socket file that we have. Not sure why it's throwing an error. I think we need the curly braces. And here we will send a message. So let's send on the message event, we will send request.body.message. And let's console log that message. And that should be it for this simple endpoint. So we send the message via the WebSocket connection. We console log here just to see if we are sending the correct value. In our socket.ts, we need to add socket on message. And we will get the message as a parameter here. And let's add the console log here as well. Message, the message that we are sending it. So that's it. Now let's test the endpoint, and to test the endpoint we need to use a tool called Postman. So make sure to go to postman.com and download the software. So this is Postman. Now let's make an HTTP request to localhost port 8000/API/message, and this will be a post request. So let's send this request. Second, I will try to restart first. Okay, let's send the request. We get success here and we get undefined. So the reason is that we are getting undefined is we have to click here body. Let's click row and we need to send a JSON request and we need to send a message here. This is a message. Send it and we get this is a message. So this is a console log working. However, we don't see any message here on this console log because we are not connected to any WebSocket. So the only way for us to see this console log is if we connect via the frontend, which we will do it in the next tutorial. One small mistake that I did here is not sending the message but emitting the message. So the result is the same, but this was a small mistake. For the frontend, check the links in the description of this video to select the framework that you like. Thank you for watching this video.